All right, ladies, you are in for a treat. Now, you may have seen prior interviews with this beautiful lady because this is not the first time, but I want you to meet Amie Stepkoski if this is your first time. She is the owner and founder of A Step Above Designs. Hey, Amie.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you on this Sunday?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your Sunday night to join me. Because of the Facebook, bullabaloo, we couldn't do this live, which we wanted to do, but I appreciate you
Mhm.
being here now for this interview. So let's talk about your background before you and I met in February.
Okay. So I had started my business about 2 years prior to that. And I always hesitated to tell people how long I was in business because I spent so much time just getting ready and learning with the programs that I did for staging and redesign, the content that I needed to know to do my job well. I spent a lot of time there, but then I just honestly didn't know what to do with myself on the business side. When before I started my business, I thought, well, I want to do something that I love, that I'm passionate about. And, everybody says, then you won't work a day in your life, right? But the problem or my challenge was that regardless of what you decide to do, how you decide to use your passion, you have to have a business mind to be successful, or you have to at least have those skills and know who to help you in that area, because it's not easy to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's
So,
the truth. That's the truth, right?
mhm.
So you and I met in a retreat in Florida. You're from Florida. I'm from Philly. I love my Florida. So you
Oh yeah.
at a retreat for stagers and others in real estate. And so
Mhm.
just very briefly, if you can talk about our meeting there and what happened.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, there were probably 6 coaches there and 6 or 7 students like me, entrepreneurs in real estate or staging. And I realized that there was so much that I didn't know that I didn't know I needed to know. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like I came in there thinking, "Oh, good, I'm going to learn how to grow my business." Of course, that's why I came, but I had no idea all the things that I was not doing. I mean, it was very eye-opening, but exciting. I was so grateful that I signed. That was a turning point for sure in my business, because I realized that I needed help in these areas, and a lot of people do. I mean, we don't all have business degrees, and I don't even know if a business degree would have helped me with this, to be honest. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend anybody going to get a business degree. You need to just get a coach, really.
Wow. That's so true because business school, and I don't have a business degree per se, but I know friends who have an MBA and then they
Mhm.
go into entrepreneurship a lot of times after corporate, and they're thinking that what
Mhm.
they've learned in school is going to translate, but especially to the online space and the things that that I've taught you that you need to do, they don't
Right.
necessarily teach you that practical strategy and tactic stuff in
Right.
school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ag- I am I agree with that 100%, because my daughter Kaylee, I mean, she just finished her AA, and she's doing a lot of entrepreneur like things on her own right now. And I'm just encouraging her to just keep up those opportunities as much as she can, learn from them, and keep pursuing them. That's that experience to me is what's more valuable right now, just where we are.
Right. And yeah, and instead of paying $40,000, $50,000 a year to get stuff that you may or may not actually use. Okay, so
Right.
it's awesome. So you and I met in
Okay.
February. And then on the heels of that, I invited you to consider joining me. Actually, that's right. You were in the VIP package. And so you got a seat,
Yes.
right, inside the branding and marketing intensive program that I have. So let's tell
Yes.
the ladies a bit about that experience.
Oh, that was amazing. I mean, first of all, I thought I had a brand because I loved my logo. I
I
was like,
love your
yay, that's
logo
my
too.
brand.
Yeah, I love
Well,
it.
I didn't realize how much more to it there is to a brand. It's not your logo necessarily. I mean, it is, but that's just one piece of it. And I learned so much from that. And I loved that group because it was smaller. I feel like maybe there were 10 or 12 ladies. I don't remember.
Got that. Yep.
But it was about that size. And we all connect. I still keep in touch. So that was February, I believe, the end of February or early March. I still have accountability calls with some of the ladies that were in that group. And I really had time to nail down my brand. My ideal client was huge. I mean, I realized the first 2 years of my business, I was going around telling realtors what I do in the home and how I stage, like telling them how I do my job. And then it was the biggest light bulb when I realized that actually they don't really care that much. I mean, they care about the results. They
Yeah.
care about the results, but just the pain points that you pointed out, like speak to their pain points. And I mean, I just thought I wasted so much time, but I'm not going to think that way either because I feel like every experience is valuable, and I learned from my mistakes and, you know,
Yeah, and
but
I'll never say that that was a mistake. That's all part of the
mhm,
learning journey. And I think as an entrepreneur, we go through those stages, and that's just
right.
part of the journey. So to me, there is no failure. That's just a lesson
Yeah.
learned, as you said. So
Yeah.
that's super. Okay, so you're in the branding and marketing intensive, and
Hmm.
that was a really great experience. You leave there feeling, solid on your brand, and then
Right.
you jump into the academy. So why did you feel compelled to do that?
Well, first I realized in that group how much I gained just from being around the other women, the, Christian entrepreneurs. I mean, I had never inserted God into my business the way that I did once we started doing this coaching together. Um, I mean, I prayed about, oh, is this what you want me to do? Should I go find another job? I always had plan B in mind, what I would do if this would fail, which was a mistake. I've realized you can't push forward with that in your mind. You have to say, no, this is plan A. God told me this is plan A. And then go to him for next steps. And, anyways, I had never inserted him into my business the way that you have, you know, coached us to. And and so I wanted that to continue. I just needed the support, and there really is so much to learn, and so many things that I think maybe I learned in our retreat or in the branding and marketing intensive, but I have to be reminded because through the experiences I would have with my business and trying the strategies, and then you realize, oh, I remember Judy said you got to make sure you do this and this, and now I see why. So I felt like I had to have someone alongside me, and listen to the other ladies, and what they were struggling with were a lot of times very similar problems that I was having with growing my business. So you just gain such a different perspective listening to them, and then also getting that great content that you had in the academy. I mean, my problem was I just wanted to soak it all in all at once, and there's just too much. You can't do that to really get everything out of it. You've got to do it. Just block it out every week.
I love that. That's great advice. And that is exactly why I launched the Blessed to Thrive Academy last fall with a very small beta group of ladies who were in a lot of cases, they were my prior clients
Hmm.
in another coaching business that I had. And I kind of tweaked and things. And then I realized this needs to be a 12-month program in order to
Yeah.
really get solid in the different things. So I really appreciate that. I want to go a little bit deeper on the brand. excuse me, because you came and you were talking about, I'm a stager. Why aren't these realtors going for me? So talk to the ladies a little bit about how I like focused you on what you needed to do. You mentioned about the pain points, but what do you call yourself now when you're talking to your ideal client, that top producing realtor?
Right. Okay. So that was huge. So I do, you know, I guess it depends on the agent or maybe the situation, but I do usually say, yes, I'm a home stager, because I know immediately they know that's something familiar. And I'll say, but I focus on occupied homes, and really I'm a visual marketing strategist. And then I'll talk about how, the importance of those marketing photos. They're the first impression. I mean, I've worked on this messaging so much that, I'm not going to sit here and share all of it, but I mean, it went from, so I really had to give them a visual in their head of what I do. I mean, and staging just didn't cut it, because everybody just thought of a stager as someone that would say, okay, get everything out of here. I'm bringing in all my furniture and accessories. And that's not at all what I do. And everything that I do involves thinking about those marketing photos. So that you helped us come up with that term, visual marketing strategist. And I love it, because number one, it says that what I do is marketing. It's not decorating. And what I do is involve strategy. There is a strategy to it. It's not just like a free for all or based on my taste, so that was huge.
Yeah. And so I remember one time earlier on, you called me, you go, hey, Judy, I feel like I'm a little bit confused. And it's because you actually have two ideal clients. One is the homeowner. And because sometimes homeowners call you directly. But secondly, and primarily, is what you just talked about, that top producing realtor. So I remember you're like, oh my gosh, that's right. I've got two ideal clients. I've got to talk to one different than the other. So that is just so awesome. As a result of this tweaked messaging, you've been able to garner a lot of promotional time in front of realtors, and you've collaborated with them. So tell us about that a little bit.
I have. Well, first of all, I mean, I'll tell you, at first, when we talked at the retreat and just in all of your programs, you talk a lot about confidence and mindset. And, it was kind of one of those things. Well, the beginning of the academy, you talk about that a lot. And I thought, okay, I'll listen to it because Judy says it's important,
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, I just thought, but I really need to know what I should do with my social media or, but that is huge. And so I say that because I did realize that once I got my messaging down and knew, which is because I understood who my ideal client was. So I was able to, be very specific in my messaging. Then it really did give me the confidence to go out there and talk to them, because I knew I had something to offer that was valuable. And I knew how to articulate that. And so that confidence is the reason I told you I built a great relationship with a broker nearby with a big office and of realtors. And we just really hit it off. And I know it's because I was able to share what I did with confidence and then perform, with some of those agents. And so he's asked me to be on a podcast. I've made 2 appearances on his podcast, and then I've gone on some other agents have done the same. A lot of realtors right now are doing Facebook Lives, with different vendors and workshops on Facebook, and I've done it, things like that, and they've approached me about it. I mean, probably with 4 or 5 different agents. So that's given me so much visibility. And what's so funny is my friends that I see like in the neighborhood or whatever, they'll say, Amie, you're all over the place on Facebook. You must be so slammed. And I'm like, really? I mean, I am busier, but it's just it was so rewarding to hear them say that, because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't really know. I mean,
Yeah, so you don't realize it, and this is the thing, these little things, day
mm-hmm,
by day, when you're consistently doing the step by step that we go through inside the program in the academy, it's
mm-hmm,
like, okay, wow, this opportunity opened up and this opportunity opened up. And you don't even realize how, when you appear in 2 months' time on 3 or 4 lives, and then you
mm-hmm,
share it out, and then maybe
mm-hmm.
they share it on different platforms besides Facebook, then all of a sudden you become that kind of local celebrity. And they're like,
Yeah,
wow, okay, Amie's doing big things. She is the real deal. So,
I know. It's like I'm an expert.
yeah, see?
Which, I mean, I mean, and I work really hard to do what I do well, but it's just, that's been really fun. And I don't know if you remember how terrified I was of video,
Yeah,
Judy. Like I was absolutely terrified. And so again, my confidence in how to share my message, and that I'm can do what I do and express what I do well. I mean, that's what's enabled me to get on in front, in front of a camera or Facebook or whatever, and build these relationships. So I'm so grateful. Like literally, I think just a few months ago was the first time I really did that. Probably April, March or April, because with everything that happened with the pandemic, it was like, well, if you're not going to get your face on Facebook, and if you're not going to let people see you and experience, you and your personality and what you do, then you're just going to be forgotten.
wow. That
So.
is a tweetable quote. That's why video is so important, so that they can really get to see you in your element. Because even a
Mhm.
podcast, as wonderful as it is, and I love my podcast, my She is Extraordinary podcast, I love, love, love it. But
Yeah.
these videos allow for a much deeper connection and a relatability, which is just fabulous. So congratulations
Yeah.
on all
Thank you.
that you do. So let's talk real now. Let's talk about revenue, just
Mhm.
briefly. So 2 years ago, you were trying to build the business. And I don't need like perfect numbers, but talk about
Yeah.
how your revenues have increased, and kind of how you're confidently able to approach a new month knowing, okay, I've got my goals and here's what I'm setting out to do.
So, um, I mean, when I first met you, I was lucky to have a job or two a week. I mean, a month, I'm sorry. A job or two a month. Like if I had 2 jobs in a month, I was excited. And I mean, that's kind of embarrassing, but I was out there making a lot of connections. I just wasn't closing the deal. And I have to believe it was my messaging. I mean, I I spent time with realtors, and I spent time, I am in a single seat networking organization. So I was around a lot of people, all professionals all the time, but they're not going to hire you if they don't understand what you do, or if they're not uh, convinced that they need you. So anyways, I would say a job or two a month. I mean, maybe a little over $500 a month I could have been making, and that probably wasn't even consistent. And but once I really became laser focused and had these strategies that I learned from you, and particularly the last few couple months, that's increased to about $2,000 a month. And so my next goal, I want to double that. That's my next goal. So, and that's happened for several months in a row now. So, and one month it was like 2,500. I was like, yay. I
That's
mean, that's small for where I want to be, but the change was great.
significant progress. You're talking about 4Xing, or in 1 month,
Mhm.
5Xing what you had been doing. And now look at your boldness. You're like, I'm going to double that. I'm going to double that.
Yeah.
And so, you've mentioned it. I just want to emphasize it. Ladies, it's not necessarily the tactic or the strategy without the mindset piece, right? Because Amie, you said that,
Oh, yeah.
that inner work, what's going
Yes.
on in the mind is what allows you to kind of understand the possibilities of what's possible, right?
Right. Well, and so there's two things I want to share that get me excited. So number one, I know that you should track and see, if strategies are working. But honestly, one big thing I took away from you is just do the next thing. Like keep going. Don't stop, just keep doing and don't worry too much about the results, I mean, results are important, but you made that phone call, you didn't, get anywhere, the realtor didn't sound interested. Well, make another phone call, just don't worry about that. Just keep looking ahead, don't look in your rearview mirror at all the people that didn't want to talk to you, because that's going to happen. But just to keep doing what I know is going to work. And that's the other thing that was huge for me is I think before I met you, I just didn't have confidence in any plan that I had that it was going to work. But I know that everything you've taught me will work. I just have to do it and keep doing it consistently, So that's the big difference. And because I'm not doing it blindly. And then there was one other thing it'll come to me, I'm sure. But
Okay, and you could think about that. And I just want to emphasize that's so good. The confidence comes with action taking and knowing you
mhm,
have a coach who's accessible. So, and of course, the
yeah.
consistency. So, I would love you to very briefly talk about what type of access did you get from me directly, and how important was that being able to reach out to me directly?
Oh, that's huge. I mean, I don't even know who your team is because I always talk to you. I know you have a team, and that is awesome. And I mean, that alone just speaks volumes that um, we always have access to you. I mean, our groups, I've never posted anything that you didn't respond to directly. And then I get voice messages from you frequently, and anytime I've reached out, I don't think I have ever had to wait more than a few hours to hear back. I don't know if you can do that all the time, but
Oh, that's my
I'm
goal.
telling you, it's not like within 24 hours, it's like within a few hours that I always get a response, especially if it's a messenger or voice message, it's usually like immediately, pretty much. And so that's just huge. I feel honored that you would take your time because I know you're so busy. I mean, you have so many things going on, but somehow you're still so accessible to people. And I appreciate that so much. I know everybody does.
Thank you. And that high touch is what I never got from any of my coaches, even to this day, never. And
Wow.
that's one thing that I am very passionate about. Like I'm growing leaps and bounds, but that high
Hmm.
touch for the ladies inside my academy, for my one-on-one clients, that is a hallmark of what I do. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to wow my clients in that way because when you're stuck, I want to be, that answer that I don't want you
Yeah.
to wait, a week for the next weekly group
Hmm.
coaching call. I want us to really get that, nip it in the bud and move on. So I really, really love that. All right. So, what is your favorite part of the academy?
Oh, my favorite part, I did start to write something because I was trying to think about this. I would say so. The last couple months, I've been doing your accelerator lab, so I haven't been on the academy as much the last couple months, but with all of your programs, and then I would say it would apply to the academy too, is I like when we get the ladies together on Zoom and I just get to hear what everybody is experiencing based on what they've learned and uh, what the outcomes have been and what their challenges are. I it's just inspiring to me to hear other people that are in totally different industries, but we all have the same mindset. We want God to be the center of our business and our life. We had a bad day, we can share that, and just pull each other up. But I also, so there's that side of it. And I also love with the Academy, just having access to the modules to go back whenever I want to. I mean, sometimes it's the most random time that I want to go in there and learn something or look at something that I'm working on right now, the success work. I love the success work because that's part of in the Academy too. Everything I've done with you, I think you always have success work, which is so important because it's one thing to just sit there and read and watch videos and, oh yeah, that's all good. And then the success work really pushes you to do it, to take action. And that's what I really need is someone to push me and say, all right, I just taught you this. Now this is what you need to do with it. And don't move on until you do it. So I love that.
That's great. The Accelerator Lab is something that I just betaed. Amie was a part of a small group of about 12 women. And it's basically the Academy on like steroids. So we kind of put, instead of 12 months, 12 weeks to really get the acceleration in the business going. And so that's what the Accelerator Lab is all about. And I may do that again in 2021. We'll have to see. But I really love that you brought up the issue of success work because, think work is huge. Now, action is ginormous, right? The implementation. But if you don't think and strategize and get that in place, then your action won't be strategic. So, it's like you go to law school to learn how to think like a lawyer. And where I'm at, I just, because I'm a lawyer, I'm like, okay, so then you come to the Academy to learn how to think like a thriving CEO. So yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point, Amie. All right. Well, I can't believe how our time is running away. But my last question to you is this. Do you think the Academy is a good investment? Like, I know that there are ladies who are watching and tracking all of these case studies and these interviews I'm doing. And they're like, oh my gosh, it sounds so good, but I'm scared, So what would you say to them? Is this a sound investment?
100%. I mean, and for me, the reason I decided to do it, it wasn't because I had extra money sitting in my account that I couldn't decide what to do with. It was because I needed to make this business successful, and I knew that I could if I had the right tools. So why would I I was spinning my wheels for 2 years trying to figure it out on my own, and I mean, my husband's in sales and marketing and has been forever, and he sat down and tried to help me, but there's just something different, I feel like, about this coaching that I received in the Academy. I mean, that's what it is. It's like a 12-month coaching program. And the money that I made, I mean, I made my investment back, like, I mean, a month. If I went from $500 a month, I mean, literally after being in this for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, a few months later, I'm, right at around 2,000. Well, that more than paid for the Academy. So it's just the amount of time you would spend trying to learn things and not even knowing if the information you're finding is good, or if there are strategies that are going to work for you. So because you're so available, you tailor everything to our, the women that you work with, to our businesses. I mean, I love listening to you brainstorm live on the group coaching sessions, because it's like you are just, I can't believe how quickly you come up with ideas that are specific to this woman's, business and industry or whatever. And it's priceless because it could take me years to learn everything that I have access to in the Academy. So.
Well, Amie, thank you. And again, I always throw up the praise to the Lord because all of my life experiences, I'm going to be 55 in a few short weeks. And so I've been this business thing for like 3 decades.
That's
whether in
awesome.
corporate or in entrepreneurial life. And so I just praise Jesus because he has allowed me to kind of pull everything I've done together to be able to
Yeah,
deliver the high level of service and the high touch that is my hallmark. There is no way I'm ever going to go back from that. That is what's, putting me on the map right now. So I really appreciate that,
for
Amie.
sure.
So, well, Amie,
Well,
thank you
I
so much for
appreciate
being
you.
here. Oh, thank you. And it's amazing clients like you, like amazing sisters. I truly, and I say this, and I think, Amie, I mean this. I love
Mhm.
you. And not because you are a client. I love you as a friend and a sister. And it's that kind of unity and sisterhood that by God's grace, the Academy is all about.
Oh, I believe it. I love you too, Judy. I mean, that's why I'm like chomping at the bit for the next, I need another retreat. So,
It's coming April of 2021.
yay.
All right. Well, Amie,
So,
thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it.
thank you, Judy. I'm happy to support you because you've done so much for me. So,
Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies, if you need me, you know where to find me. And I look forward to welcoming you inside the Academy real soon.